Session 15, 5 Keys to Goal Setting.
We started this seminar asking the question, why is it that some people are more successful than others? And a friend of mine who's been working in this industry for many years told me a story that I think you'll enjoy and which I found very relevant. He said that he invited, as the deacon of his church, he invited a Jewish gentleman to come to his church, a Christian church, and speak to the congregation on comparative religion, how the Jewish religion compared with the Christian religion. Well, the Jewish gentleman came after several weeks, and he stood up, and he began his talk. And he said, ladies and gentlemen, he said, I've examined your books, and I've examined our books. He said, I've examined your basic teachings, and I've examined our basic teachings, and I've come to this conclusion. He said, the Bible and the Talmud and all of our books say that the two great rules of life are to love God and to love your neighbor as yourself. He said, ladies and gentlemen, all else is commentary. All else is commentary. He said, we've been working in the field of success for 25 years, and we sat down around the table not too long ago, and we said, what is success? What are the determinants of success? And the unanimous conclusion was simply this. Ladies and gentlemen, success is goals, and all else is commentary. Success is goals, and all else is commentary. And I don't think there's anything that you'll ever learn that is truer than that. During the course of this seminar, we've talked about many different laws, the law of attraction, law of correspondence, law of belief, expectation, and so on. But you find that the only way to utilize all of those laws, or the easiest way to utilize all of those laws, is just to simply set a goal. When you set a goal, what do you believe in? A goal. What do you expect to happen? A goal. What do you attract into your life? People and circumstances in harmony with your goal. What does the law of correspondence affect? That your outer world will harmonize with your inner world with your goal. What do you concentrate on? Your goal. What do you plant in your subconscious? Your goal. What do you use for the law of substitution? A goal. A goal makes it possible for you to bring to bear all the laws of the universe to help to make you successful without even thinking about any of the laws. That's why in every single study of successful men and women, you find intense goal orientation. And yet even knowing that success is dependent upon goals, crucially dependent upon goals, we find that less than 5% of the population have goals at all. I once wrote a paper or an article for a newspaper, and the quote they pulled out of the newspaper was, those who do not have goals are condemned forever to work for those who do. If you don't have goals for your life, you are condemned forever to help other people achieve their goals. In fact, in 1953, one of the famous studies, in 1953 at Yale University, they did a survey amongst the graduating class of seniors, and they asked them, amongst other questions, do you have goals and have you made plans for their accomplishment? They found that only 3% of the graduating seniors of one of the most favored classes that ever graduated from an Ivy League college in America had goals. Well, they went back in 1973, 20 years later, and they asked them, amongst other things, how much money are you worth today versus how much you were worth in 1953? And they found that the 3% who had set goals at the beginning of their careers were worth more in financial terms than the entire other 97% put together. Now, this is a phenomenal accomplishment, but it is not unusual. As a matter of fact, every statistic that I've looked at in studying goal setting, and I have been a fanatic on the subject of goal setting for years, shows that only 3%, 1 in 30, has clear, specific, written goals with action plans for their accomplishment. Now, let me say this, is that the ability to set goals and the ability to make action plans for their accomplishment is the master skill of success. It is the master skill. It is the most important single skill that you can ever learn. And through the course of what we're going to talk about now, if you can learn to set and accomplish one major goal, it can be the most important thing that you ever discover. More important than math, more important than science, more important than computer technology, more important than sales skills is the ability to set goals. Because once you have set goals, you trigger 80% of the population has either a vague idea of what they want or no idea at all. And by the time this session is over, I'm sure that will be changed a little bit for you. Setting goals is the master skill of success. I think that goal setting should be taught in kindergarten and first grade and second grade, right up to every single year of school. There should be some module and some process of teaching young people to set goals. It would guarantee greater success faster and easier in life than any other single skill that a person can develop. No matter how old you are, no matter where you are today, the sooner you learn to develop the master skill of success by practice and repetition over and over again until you become completely focused as a goal-achieving human being, the sooner you learn it, the faster you will accomplish great things in your life. Now, an interesting point. Each of us has what we call a failure mechanism in life. The failure mechanism goes off automatically. The vast majority of people fail to live up to their potential. They fail to become everything they're capable of becoming. Over 80%. And the failure mechanism is what we call the comfort zone. It's the tendency to fall into a comfort zone, to do what is easy, not to avoid making the efforts necessary to succeed. Now, this failure mechanism goes off automatically. From the time we are infants, we talked earlier about the pleasure principle. We always move toward what is pleasurable, what is easy, what is fun, what is enjoyable, and we move away from what is uncomfortable, what is difficult, what requires discipline, what requires effort, and so on. However, the only way to override this failure mechanism is by activating your success mechanism. And your success mechanism is triggered by a goal. Whenever you write out a goal, you override the failure mechanism. Whenever you think about a goal, you override the failure mechanism. You see, when you set a goal, it releases positive energy. It builds up drive and desire. It gives you persistence. It gives you clarity of thought. It gives you intensity of purpose. And it moves you forward towards your objective. The only way you can break out of the comfort zone is by setting goals that are progressively higher than anything that there were no really good goal-setting methodologies. And in this course, I'm going to teach you a goal-setting methodology that is absolute dynamite, considered one of the best goal-setting methodologies that anybody's ever seen. But if you don't know how to set goals, I can tell you how to set goals, tell you to set goals all day, and it wouldn't do you any good. You can go through 12 to 15 years of school in our society and never get 1 hour on goal setting. Imagine 12 to 15 years. I have taken a postgraduate degree in business from a major university, and never once did they spend 1 hour talking about how to set and achieve goals. Never once did they discuss the master skill of success. Well, after this course, you're going to know how to set goals. So that won't be a problem. Now, the third reason why people don't set goals, and this is in order of increasing importance, is fear of rejection. The fear of rejection, as we talked about before. One of the most profound and powerful fears in our life is the fear of being criticized or ridiculed by other people. And every one of us, as children, when we were young, we said, I want to do this, I want to be a fireman, I want to go here, I want to go there. And we had somebody saying, that's stupid, or you can't accomplish that, or don't be silly, or you're too small, and so on. And what we learned at a very early age is that if we talked about a goal or something that we wanted that was bigger than we were, the most important people in our lives would ridicule us and would criticize us and make us feel bad and small. So unconsciously we made a decision, if you want to get along, you've got to go along, so we don't talk about our goals. That way nobody criticizes us. Now, as adults, we fall into the trap, an unconscious habit, we fall into the trap of not setting goals at all. And not talking about goals and not thinking about goals, then nobody can criticize you. And I will tell you this, that 80-90% of the people around you, if you decide you're going to do anything from finding a new parking spot to finding a new job or a new marriage, they will tell you that it can't be done. They'll tell you all the reasons, and they'll line them up, and they'll try to discourage you from doing anything different than you're doing. So here's the key. Keep your goals confidential. Keep goals confidential. Don't discuss your goals with anybody, except that the great majority of people are threatened by anybody who has a goal. They're worried. It makes them feel inferior and inadequate because they don't have goals of their own. So only discuss your goals with people who also have goals of their own. Discuss them with the people close to you whose help you need to accomplish them. But just don't discuss your goals with people at random, and don't give them a chance to shoot the goals down. Now, the fourth reason why people don't set goals. This is the top of the list. This is the worst of all. It's our old friend, our old enemy, if you like, fear of failure. The fear of failure is the number one reason why people fail in adult life. The fear of failure, the fear that I can't. I might lose my money. I might lose my time. I might lose my investment. I can't. It causes us to become tense and stressed. It causes our heart to pound and our stomach to churn. This fear of failure is the number one reason why people underachieve and fail in life. is because the fear of failure holds them back from or disadvantage. As Napoleon Hill said in his book, there's a valuable lesson, an opportunity, or a benefit that you can find if you look for it. That successful people, leaders, are people who never use the word failure. They never think of the word failure. Thomas J. Watson, the founder of IBM, was once asked by a young man, he said, "Mr. Watson, what can I do to be more successful?" And Watson said without hesitating, he said, "Double your failure rate." Double your failure rate. Why? It's because, let me put this down. It's because if you look at the life stories of successful men and women, if you look at the life story of a person like Thomas Edison, one of the greatest failures in history. Thomas Edison, in the course of his lifetime, patented 1,052 devices at the U.S. Patent Office. Over 1,000 of those devices were actually turned into commercial products that made enormous amounts of money. Edison was also the greatest failure in the history of invention. He failed 17,000 times to come up with a plant that from which our life is getting worse and deteriorating. That just happens to be the fact. However, when we set goals, we can control the direction of change. And controlling the direction of change is the key to our success. So that everything that happens in our life is goal-directed. It is towards something that we want. It is toward improvement. It is in the direction of our highest ideals rather than random. See, nobody fears change if it's in the direction of something that they want. The only change that we fear is change that leaves us worse off than we were before. Now, this brings us to our second key concept in goal setting. It's what we call the area of excellence. Now, the area of excellence concept is very simple. What it says is that everybody has talents that rotate around the average. These are average talents. So we are better at cooking, worse at math, better at communicating, worse at selling, better at speaking, worse at history, and so on. We all have talents, but it also says that every one of us has talents somewhere. What absorbs your attention completely? When you're working at it, when you're thinking about it, when you're reading about it, it absorbs your attention completely. Attention, interest, and absorption are the three keys to finding your area of excellence. And one of the most important responsibilities of adult life is to find your area of excellence. Because until you do that and commit yourself to it, you will never achieve your full potential. And everybody has an area of excellence. Now, the next key, number 3, area of excellence is number 2. Next key is what we call the acres of diamonds. And the acres of diamonds theory comes from a story about an old farmer who went off seeking diamonds in Africa, sold his farm, wrapped up everything, went off seeking diamonds, ran out of money, and finally died, poor, impoverished, and alone. And meanwhile, back on his farm, the new owner went out and discovered some of the biggest diamonds in history. The Acres of Diamonds philosophy says that under your own feet, right now, in almost all cases, is everything that you're looking for. Right now, contained within your own talents, your own ability, key areas. Number 1 is you need personal and family goals. Now, your personal and family goals are the goals that, more than anything else, determine the quality of your emotional life, determine how good you feel about yourself and life. And your personal and family goals, you need about 3 to 5. These are the reasons why. These are the why of your life. This is why you're alive in the first place, which is to achieve a life that is significant and important and pleasurable to you. And you must never sacrifice these for anything else. The second set of goals are business and career goals. Now, your business and career goals are the way that you earn the wherewithal. They're the way that you fulfill your potential as a productive member of society. They're the way you make a contribution. These are the what goals. But remember, these are not as important as the why. The natural tendency for us, if we're not careful, is we get so caught up in the what, the business and career goals, that we forget the personal and family, which are the reasons why we started in the first place. And you need 3 to 5 goals in the business and career area. And number 3, in your life. Now, it doesn't mean you can't have several goals. You can have 10 to 15 goals going. You can have 200 to 300 if you want. But you have to have one. If somebody were to wake you up in the middle of the night and give you a shake and say, what is your major definite purpose? You should be able to open your eyes and be able to tell them just like that. Your major definite purpose must be measurable. In other words, you can't have a major definite purpose to be happy. I had one woman come up to me and she said her major definite purpose was world peace. And I said, well, your major definite purpose, in order for it to have any meaning for you, in order for it to give purpose and direction to your life, has to be under your own control. It has to be measurable. It has to be specific. It has to be tangible. It has to be something that you can do or have or be. It has to be something that when you've accomplished it, you can look at it and say, here it is, it's achieved. It can't be something nebulous, because setting a big, broad, unbounded goal is a way that we trick ourselves into setting no goal. Guys, here it is. Question number 1 is, what are your 5 basic values in life? What 5 things do you value most in life? Number 1 question. You have 60 seconds to answer this question. It's counting right now. What things do you value most in life? Your home, your car, your family, your income, your job, your career, your spiritual development, your health, your wealth, your stereo set, your new hubcaps, your intelligence, your intellectual growth. What 5 things do you value most in life? 30 seconds. Write the first 5 things that come to mind. And once you've written the answer to this question, your 5 basic values, organize them in order of priority. What is the first one? What would be number 1 if you had to throw away the other 4? What would be number 2 if you had to throw away the other 3? What would be number 3? And so on. Organize them in order of priority, number 1 through number 5. All right? 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Question number 2 is, write your 3 most important goals in life right now. You have 30 seconds. What's your 3 most important goals in life right now? Counting. 25 seconds left. Write the first 3 goals that pop into your mind. If you can't think of anything else, write money, money, money. But write the first 3 goals that pop into mind, quickly. Okay, 10 seconds. This is an easy question. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Question number 3. You have 1 minute. What would you do, how would you spend your time if you found today that you only had 6 months to live? How would you spend the last 6 months of your life if you only had 6 months to live?